next guest.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David. Our first guest in this next hour of conversation is Joanne Smikle. Thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
So Joanne is with Smikle Training Services, and I know, let's talk a little bit about the topics of one of the sessions that you're going to be presenting, and that is really so many strategic planning initiatives start out with the best of intentions, but seem to then fall flat when it really comes to having the processes in place to really spark transformative change. So your session really focuses around appreciative inquiry. What does that really mean, Joanne? And what can we do in our own business events to employ that?
Certainly. Appreciative inquiry is an approach to organizational change. I use it a lot for strategic planning. It's rooted in social constructionism, which teaches us that language is our most powerful tool of creation. So we start the appreciative inquiry for strategic planning by examining the language that we're going to be using to move the organization forward, and by intentionally focusing on the most positive language. The other root of it in terms of theory is something called heliotropism, which teaches us that all living things, all living beings gravitate toward that which gives them life. So the goal is to use the strategy to build a life-affirming, life-giving organization. And the 4Ds, which is the model that we'll be exploring in the session, the 4Ds enable us to create a strategy that is easy to implement and based on successes that the organization has already had, rather than many strategic planning initiatives focus on deficits. This is very different. We focus on where we've been successful and build on those successes. And it really enables us to avoid that strategy to performance gap that you were talking about. Lots of organizations have great strategy and great ideas, but when it comes to implementation and execution, they fall short. The way that this model is designed, it really enables us to be very intentional and focused, not just about developing the strategy, but about living into it.
And I love that idea of sort of that flipped model of it really focusing on your successes, what's going right, and how to really blow that out. Do you focus then on key opportunities as well from unexplored areas, or is it really all about the success model?
That can emerge because the first D is the dream. So the dream may be to find new opportunities, to create new opportunities, to leverage strengths in a different way, to explore different strengths. So that can certainly emerge from the model. What I like about doing the appreciative inquiry work is how individualized it is. It's not a cookie cutter. Yeah, there's a framework, the 4Ds or the 5 generic processes, but you can adapt that framework in the way that makes the most sense for your organization.
So what would you say for our online audience would be the biggest takeaways from this session? Sort of some aha moments that they can have as little snippets.
I think one of the greatest aha moments is that we don't have to focus on what went wrong or what's going wrong, that we can focus on what goes well in the organization, and that we can shift our attention so that we're focused on what is going well and create more of that. I think that will probably be the biggest aha moment. I think one of the other aha moments will be the power of language in creating strategy, and how we need to really be intentional in examining our language and thoughtful about putting forth the language that really reflects the strategy that we want.
Perfect, great. Well, you heard from Joanne throwing around the 4Ds and some other fascinating processes. So if you want to learn much more about that, this is actually one of those sessions we were talking about a little earlier in our broadcast that you have the opportunity to see the entire full session. So this is what we're calling one of our crowdsourced sessions. So be sure to go into the platform in the very bottom, in the bottom right corner where you see those 2 arrows together, that little black box, click on that, and you can actually vote up to the top your choices for the crowdsourced sessions that you would like to see in their entirety as rebroadcasts, like a simulive broadcast that we'll be bringing to you on Wednesday. So keep that in mind if you want to learn more about this topic. Thank you so much, Joanne, and we'll turn it back over to you, David.